Peace, family. It's your brother Marc Lamont Hill, live here on Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. We're talking about Instagram and Facebook. Are they censoring content that is pro-Palestinian? That's the question a lot of people have been asking. That's the criticism a lot of people have made. That's the accusation that a lot of people have levied against Meta, which is the parent company of Instagram and Facebook. Well, guess what? It is true. That is according to a new study, a new report by Human Rights Watch. They did a systematic study between October and November of 2023, of course, beginning with October 7th, which was the Hamas-led attack, and the following days, the subsequent days, where over 18,000 Palestinians have been killed by the state of Israel. But over that time, Human Rights Watch has documented and proven that there is a systematic effort to take down pro-Palestinian commentary, to censor pro-Palestinian commentary. Some of y'all have experienced it yourselves. Hit the like button right now if you have experienced censorship by Meta, censorship on your Instagram page, censorship on your Facebook page. Sometimes they make you feel like you are crazy, like you made this up, like it's just in your mind, like you're just not popping no more. That's why you're not getting the like button. Oh, no one cares about your content. The algorithm is apolitical, it is neutral, and that is why. But that is not the case. I'm gonna tell you what the case is. Now I can't stay long, y'all, but we're gonna break this thing down. Human Rights Watch has noticed 6 patterns of undue censorship. Each has happened at least 100 times. So we're not talking about an individual case. Somebody wrote a pro-Palestine post and got taken down, and they made a bigger thing out of it than it should have been. Nah. These things happened at least 100 times. These are the 6 key things. Number 1, removal of posts, stories, and comments. That means you put a post up detailing how the Israeli military has bombed a school, has bombed Al Shifa Hospital, has bombed Al Ahli Hospital, and it just goes away. Or you have stories on Instagram and Facebook, and you post your stories. You got 25 stories in a day. You post a dad joke like me. You post a sports story about how dope the Sixers are like I do. And then third, you post something about an elderly Palestinian man being stripped naked in the West Bank. That story don't load, or that story loads and it disappears. This is what's happening. Systematic removal of post, stories, and comments. You might go on somebody's page. I know sometimes people go, like people like Michael Rappaport have these super pro-Zionist, pro-Israeli pages. And you might go in there and say, you know what? I disagree with your assessment. That's Islamophobic. That's offensive. That's this, that's that. And somehow your comment doesn't make the cut. Now, sometimes that's just the poster who decides to delete you. But sometimes, we've seen at least 100 times that the removal of post, stories, and comments suggest that the company itself is deleting your comment. What else? Suspension of permanent or permanent disabling of accounts. Some of y'all are getting your whole pages deleted. Some of y'all are getting your whole pages deleted because of your politics. That ain't supposed to happen. Forgive the noise in the background, y'all. That's what's going on right now. I apologize. I'm at the crib, couldn't get to the studio in time. But I needed to get this information to you. Some of y'all are getting your whole account disabled on Instagram. You're getting your whole account deleted on Facebook because you take a different position than what some people think you should be taking, whatever that position is. Number 3, restrictions on the ability to engage content. Restrictions on the ability to engage content. Liking, commenting, sharing, reposting stories. Some people have been banned from liking other people's stories, from making comments on people's pages, from sharing a post or reposting something that's up. Not just for a day. Sometimes it's 24 hours. Sometimes it's a week. Sometimes it's a month. Sometimes it's 90 days. Anywhere from 24 hours to 3 months, people are being banned or restricted from engaging content. That is crazy. Number 4, restrictions on the ability to follow or tag other accounts. There are people out here, people like Khalid Beydoun, People like Noor Adakat, people like Eyewitness Palestine, people like Existence is Resistance. Shit, people like me. I'm not on as important as those folk. I'm just saying I have a pro-Palestinian page that has a lot of followers, and a whole lot of people can't follow me. Or conversely, you're not allowed to follow certain pro-Palestinian pages. So you go to the page, try to follow it. You ever notice you keep getting unfollowed? Every time you follow something, every time you go back to the page, you don't follow them no more? Or you post something that's powerful and you want to tag all the people you know who about that life too. So you tag them and somehow they get untagged. Number 5, restrictions on the use of certain features, such as Facebook Live and Instagram Live, monetization, and recommendation of accounts to non-followers. So what they do is they say, all right, well, you could be on here, but we've seen people who have pro-Palestinian content restricted so they can't go live. Live is an important feature. Some of the best communication happens when you can get 10,000 people, 5,000 people, shit, 50 people on your page breaking some content down. Not just a post, but breaking content down, taking questions, bringing a follower on live so that you can have a rich conversation about what's going on. This is what it is. Some of y'all saying right now, I'm reading people right now saying, from me, Beyond Images, I never get my notifications from Mark. Rachel said, yeah, Melissa, me too. This is what I'm talking about. Other people are saying this, other people saying, Beyond Images says, I'm pretty sure this is what's happening with my Facebook. A whole lot of folk feel like this. I have thousands of Facebook followers on top of the friends. My comments get 1 like, 1 repost. People don't even see it. Which goes to number 6, shadow banning. See, what they do is they can't actually ban you because that's an obvious violation of their terms of service, their rules, free speech, blah, 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 blah. So what they do is they shadow ban you. They allow you to post. They just don't allow nobody to see it. A lot of you hear the term shadow banning. Shadow banning is the significant decrease in visibility of an individual's posts, stories, or account without notification due to a reduction in the distribution or reach of content or disabling of searches for accounts. That's Human Rights Watch's definition, by the way. I don't want y'all to say I'm jacking people's definitions. I don't want no plagiarism charges here. This is all from Human Rights Watch. In addition to all this, Human Rights Watch says dozens of users reported being unable to repost, like, or comment on Human Rights Watch's post calling for evidence of online censorship, which was flagged as spam. In other words, Human Rights Watch was asking people to contribute to this report. Let us know if you've been shadow banned. Let us know if you're getting muted. Let us know if you're getting disabled. And people said they weren't allowed to leave comments on the post asking about censorship of the post. That's brazen. That's brazen. Before we go, and I got to go in a second, Human Rights Watch also offers 4 factors that they say contributes to this outcome. In other words, this isn't some dude in the room twirling his mustache. There's no evil guy deleting your posts, right? It don't work that way. Here's what it is. 4 things. Number 1, flaws in Meta's policies. Principally, it's dangerous organizations and individuals policy, which bars organizations or individuals that proclaim a violent mission or are engaged in violence from its platforms. In other words, Meta is saying we don't support violence. We don't want to support any organizations that that support violence. The problem is anything in the Palestine support category is now being swept into the pro-terrorism, pro-violence, pro-Hamas, pro-PFLP. And Hamas and PFLP, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, that's an organization founded decades ago in Palestine by George Habash. They're effectively banning. They're basically creating a context where you can't support any pro-Palestinian nationalist organizations. You can't support any Palestinian resistance movements. You may not be pro-terrorism. In fact, most of you are not pro-terrorism. I'm not pro-terrorism. None of us are pro-terrorism. But you might say, look, I support political movements. And some of those political movements have been deemed wrong by the US government. And therefore, Meta, through their algorithms and through their system, is simply deleting it full stop. Similarly, if I were to support the African National Congress, Nelson Mandela's party, 20 years ago, Facebook, or 30 or 40 years ago, Facebook were around, they would automatically delete me. Number two, inconsistent and opaque application of meta policies, in particular on exceptions for newsworthy content. In other words, you're allowed to post stuff that's newsworthy. If Hamas and Israel are the biggest story in the world for the last 2 months, then I can post a bombing. I'm not talking about bloody, gory violence. I'm talking about a headline about violence. I can talk about Israel's bombing of a church or a masjid. I can talk about Hamas's attack of 1,200 people, or killing of 1,200 people on October 7th, because those are exceptions, because they're newsworthy. The difference is there's no shortage of opportunities to talk about Hamas. You can talk about Hamas all day long, as long as you're talking about Hamas killing somebody. But if I talk about the Israeli military in the same way, or I talk about the 18 to 20,000 people that have been confirmed dead in Gaza since October 7th, even though it's newsworthy, they say it violates a policy because they don't apply them consistently. Number three, apparent deference to requests by governments for content removals. This is deep. Apparent deference to requests by government for content removals, such as requests by Israel's cyber unit and other countries' internet referral units to remove content. So if I talk about the fact that Israel has not proven that there was a Hamas command center underneath El Shifa hospital where all those incredibly sick people, I'm talking about Palestinians who were ailing, who were physically ill, or the early born babies, all those people who were made even more vulnerable. If I tell that story, the US government, the Israeli government, whoever can come in and say, you know what, please remove that content. And then finally, heavy reliance on automated tools for content removal to moderate or translate Palestine-related commentary. So they use automated tools which sort of directly and cleanly delete Palestinian stuff, right? Because algorithms don't have nuance, or the nuance is tweaked in such a way that it doesn't benefit Palestinians. This is what we're talking about. There's a whole lot more going on with this, but I just wanted to break down to you and tell y'all, I got to run, but I want to tell y'all, y'all are not crazy. You're not imagining this. What you're experiencing on your social media platform is real. What you thought was happening is happening. You're being silenced in your support for Palestine. You're being silenced in your struggle for Palestinian human rights. You're being silenced. If you get a minute, check out the Human Rights Report. It's called Meta's Broken Promises, which is exactly what it is, because Meta promised to be about free speech, also to be about justice, also to be about human rights, but most of all, to be a place where people could exchange ideas. And it seems like, as always, there is an exception for Palestine. All right, family, hit the like button if you agree with what I'm talking about. Hit the like button if you're one of those people who experience this. Also, family, hit the subscribe button right now and break down this with community. Analyze this with community. You can come back, get updates on when we talk about more stuff like this. You can go through the old videos, hit subscribe button. It helps us build the channel. And of course, hit that join button if you're so inclined, because that allows us to build capacity and space for more critical conversations just like this. I love y'all, family. I'll see y'all later. Peace.